Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome into the Bulls Report. My name is Patrick Siepman, and coming up on today's show, we got a big-time report around Zach LaVine that is suggesting that maybe the Clippers are not interested in the two-time All-Star. We'll be diving into that. And then also, Nikola Vucevic. What's the latest I'm hearing around him? Could he be heading to the Golden State Warriors? We'll talk about that all on today's show. But before we dive into that, guys, I was looking at some analytics here at Chat Sports, and I saw our Heat video, or our Heat channel put out a video yesterday. They got 323 likes. Let's just beat that. I put the goal as 400 likes. If you guys could help me out, win a little like battle here at Chat Sports, I would really appreciate it. So hit that thumbs up icon and like today's show. So this new report was coming in from ClutchPoints, and they said that the Clippers aren't interested in trading for Zach LaVine. And this is following a report we heard last week that was suggesting that the Clippers could be all in on a move for LaVine. Let's check out what they had to say. So this is coming in from Tomer Azarly, where he said there have also been reports linking the Clippers to Chicago Bulls guard Zach LaVine, but sources have told ClutchPoints the reported interest has not been coming from the Clippers side. And, when I heard this is obviously disappointing news because I think the number one, priority for the Bulls the rest of the season or rest of the offseason should be moving off Zach LaVine. And I thought it made a lot of sense for the Clippers. Like, they have a lot of guys that they can help, aggregate contracts and match Zach LaVine's $43 million. And with where the roster stands right now in the Western Conference, do they have enough to even make the final 8-team playoffs? I would probably say no, but if you would add LaVine to James Harden, Kawhi Leonard, Zubac, and Derrick Jones Jr., I thought it would actually create a decent lineup for Los Angeles. But however, who knows if this is true? Like, I think the Bulls have been one of, I think we all hear like, oh, that's a smokescreen, that's a smokescreen. And like, I think that's true with the Bulls because, throughout this whole process, like not a single report that we have gotten around, DeMar, Vooch, or LaVine, even dating back to last offseason, none of these reports have been like definitely true or have came to fruition. So who knows if this is a smokescreen coming in from a member of the Los Angeles Clippers organization saying like, oh, no, we're not interested in Zach LaVine. Maybe they're trying to drive, the price down. But we also got this report from Michael Sands saying the Bulls would like to trade LaVine ASAP. It actually hinted that the relationship between the Bulls and Zach LaVine and the front office is becoming very toxic. There's actually Joe Cowley who reported that early on today, which is, typical. Joe Cowley has his, weekly report around Zach LaVine and the Bulls being, frustrated with each other. But, there are some people in the camp that the Bulls should, keep LaVine for the first couple months of the season and then ship him off at the trade deadline. I think that would be incredibly risky. So I got 5 reasons why the Bulls need to trade LaVine ASAP. Number one is the development of others. Like, if the Bulls are truly shifting to this youth movement, how do you, pour more resources into those young guys? You get them more shots, you get the ball in their hands a lot more, and you just up their usage rate. Having Zach LaVine on this team, it would kind of neglect a lot of that. But if you take him off this team, more of those shots would be going to Williams, Buzelis, and I think it would just overall, help the future out more for Chicago. And then also the locker room impact. Like, I just feel like if there were like 2 Chicago Bulls teams right now, where it's like the Chicago Bulls team with Zach LaVine and all those young guys, and it's like the Bulls team obviously without Zach LaVine and just the young guys. Like, I think him being in that locker room could have a negative impact because I'm sure the younger guys are like, well, what's really the direction of this franchise? And obviously LaVine doesn't want to be there. Like, it's not like he's going to be fully bought into doing everything he can to help get the Bulls to that next level. He would just be out there trying to get some better tape out for other teams to trade for him. So I think the locker room impact is seriously something we need to consider because if you don't have all 15 members of that roster fully bought into the same goal, it could get ugly and it could create for a real mess there for the Bulls this upcoming year. But also we got to think about next year's first-round pick. And I am not saying that the Bulls, need the tank. They need to get this pick because let's just say they do trade LaVine and Vooch and like those young guys somehow get the Bulls to the playoffs. I couldn't care less about next year's first-round pick because that would mean the young guys on this team have taken the next step. But that is extremely unlikely, and we just need to be self-aware right now as Bulls fans. I mean, like the number one goal for this season, if it is not making the playoffs, it is having next year's first-round pick come to fruition. Because what would be the worst-case scenario? The Bulls make the play-in tournament again, they don't make the playoffs, and then they're sitting there at picks 12 through 14, and then they don't have that first-round pick, and it goes to San Antonio. That would be a disaster for our Bulls. And then also the contract. Like, he's got 3 years left on a $150 million deal. Like, like if the Bulls want to make a splash either next free agency or the one after, like moving off LaVine would be absolutely huge for that, obviously. And if you can't move off him now, like who says next year when his deal is even higher in the average annual salary basis, like it goes up to $49 million. Like if you can move off him now, you just do it. And number 5 for me, it's a youth movement. Like it is here and it is strong for the Chicago Bulls as they got like 10 guys on this roster below the age of 26 who I am a big fan of and want to see them continuously develop their game. And if you just have LaVine here, it just creates a disconnect between, the Zach LaVine Bulls and the youth movement Bulls. And we're like 80% to that youth movement. But if you still have 20% of that team kind of bought into the Zach LaVine-led Chicago Bulls, there's just not really a culture being instilled there at all. So those are my 5 reasons why the move off of Zach LaVine. But hey, you guys predict it for me down in the comments. Will Zach LaVine play another game with the Chicago Bulls? Give me a Y for yes or give me an N for no down in the comment section. Curious to see what you guys have to say. Now, coming up here in just a second, we are getting a pretty blockbuster trade idea that would send Nikola Vucevic to the Golden State Warriors. It kind of went semi-viral on Twitter and the NBA streets, so we'll get you guys that here in a second. But first off, we have a sweet deal going on right now. If you guys click this link, chatsports.com/BullsCombo, get your 2 t-shirt pack today, $20 off. They're sweet, super comfortable, great gear if you guys want to help support your Chicago Bulls this entire offseason and leading up to the season. So that link will be in the comment section and description of today's show. But chatsports.com/BullsCombo. Get yourself some Bulls merch today. So could Nikola Vucevic be heading to the Bay? Well, in the latest NBA trade idea, the Bulls trade Nikola Vucevic to the Golden State Warriors. Now, the latest reports we are hearing around the Golden State Warriors is that they are all in on Lauri Markkanen of the Utah Jazz. But let's just say the Warriors do miss out on Lauri Markkanen. Watch out for them calling about Nikola Vucevic or also maybe even a Zach LaVine. Steph Curry still playing top 10 player in the world caliber basketball, and I think the Warriors are, not going to want him to just kind of, tail off his legacy with the Golden State Warriors, similar to how Kobe Bryant did. I'm sure they're going to want to have just at least one more puncher's chance, one more playoff run with that core of Curry and Draymond Green. They got other young guys, coming up in their system, like Kuminga, like Moses Moody. Maybe they could view a guy like Vooch who could just go out and get them 18-10 on any given night. And actually, the Warriors wouldn't have to give up much for him. So in this trade idea that's gone viral, we'll talk about that guy right down there. Derrick Rose coming back to Chicago here in a second. But it would be the Bulls sending Nikola Vucevic to the Bay and the Grizzlies sending Santi Aldama to the Warriors as well. The Grizzlies would receive Andrew Wiggins and the Bulls would getting Derrick Rose, John Concher, and Vince Williams Jr. Now, I absolutely love this trade for the Grizzlies and the Warriors. First off, on the Grizzlies, like they have a stacked 5-man rotation right now in John Morant, Marcus Smart, Desmond Bane, Jaren Jackson, and Zach Edey. Even a guy like Brandon Clark off the bench. But if you just add another 3-and-D wing like Andrew Wiggins, like keep your eyes out on the Grizzlies. They're that one team in the Western Conference that, if John Morant returns the prime John Morant form, they are going to be an absolute problem in that Western Conference. I mean, it was only a couple years ago. They were the 2nd seed in the entire league. But also for the Warriors, I think it makes sense. Like, maybe they'll have to switch up their free-flowing, freestyle type of offense to have it be more, ran through a big. But, hey, man, Vooch is great at those high pick and rolls and, attacking 4-on-3. Double team comes to Steph. You can drop it off to Vooch. He has that push shot. He has, some stretch 5 ability. Even though he doesn't shoot the 3 ball at the highest clip, he will take them. But he's also great as a playmaker, playing at an advantage 4-on-3. He can either drop it off to Draymond, Trace Jackson Davis, or kick it out to the corner to a guy like Buddy Hield or Brandon Podziemski, for the Golden State Warriors. But also the part about this trade that, I love the most, obviously moving off Nikola Vucevic, I absolutely love, but you would be bringing back Derrick Rose. And this past season for the Memphis Grizzlies, he averaged 8 points a game, 1.9 rebounds, 3.3 assists, and was just an overall great locker room guy, for the Grizzlies. And I'll tell you what, with the Bulls having, actually now having 2 Chicago guards on their roster, and DJ Stewart and Ayo Dosunmu, like, what a better role model, what a better mentor for these younger cats on this team than having Derrick Rose return to the Chicago Bulls. I would love it. The United Center would, it would be on fire that day that D Rose makes his return. But I would absolutely love it. But hey, my overall take on Vooch, if you're able to move off Vooch, you do it. Like, obviously, you don't want to attach any future draft capital since the Bulls are, heading to this youth movement. But also another big reason why I want to move off Vooch is how about my man Sticks, Jalen Smith? Like, I I think there are so many times in the NBA where these guys were take him for example with the Pacers last season, played 17 points or 17 minutes per game, averaged around 10 points, 5.5 rebounds, just okay numbers. But if you would project that over 36 minutes, he's damn near a walking 18-11, couple blocks a game guy with some stretchability. I mean, shot 60% from the field and 42% from downtown this past season. That's why I'm a big Jalen Smith believer. Now, do I think he could be a good starter on a championship team? I am not sure yet, but I wouldn't be shocked if he ends up being that. Like, he is still 24 years old, almost 10 years younger than Vooch. He moves better defensively. He plays better just within the flow of the offense. Very underrated rim protector as well. So, listen, I'm a big believer in Jalen Smith. I would love for him to be the starting center for the Bulls and getting truly 30 to 35 minutes a night instead of having, Vooch get 30 to 35 minutes and then have Jalen Smith only getting like 10 to 15. I just think that would be a kind of waste. I mean, you paid the guy 3 years, $27 million. You're hoping he can be a big-time role player in the future for this franchise. So I'm a Jalen Smith guy, even more, ammunition on why I would move off Vooch. But, hey, maybe you guys disagree with me. Pick a starting center for the Bulls next season. Give me an NV for Nikola Vucevic, or give me a JS for Jalen Smith. Curious to see what you guys have to say, but I'm assuming we'll be seeing a lot of JSs in the comments section. Also, if you guys want to give me a follow on Twitter, that's a handle right there, @PatSeeps. Give you guys a follow back if you guys do so. But thank you guys so much for watching today's show. See you guys next time. As always, go Bulls.